Hi, Denise here. I've been doing a little bit of research on the stalker ring that operates out of the rickross.com forum. And it's an interesting group, particularly, of course, the one I've been spending so much time on, the section where they keep attacking the Jesus Christians, and the leader of that subgroup of the Rick Ross Institute, Brian Birmingham, is, and he's been on the Jeremy Kyle show on behalf of his crusade against what he thinks are cults, and he's a graduate of Meadow Haven, a clinic in Lakeville, Massachusetts. He calls himself a graduate. He also refers to himself as a social psychologist. So I decided to take a look at Meadow Haven. Very interesting little organization here. Biggest bunch of quackery I ever saw, in my opinion. I'll tell you the truth. It was started by Judy and Robert Pardon, who have as their credentials, let's see, Bob and Judy Pardon maintain their offices on the premises of Meadow Haven. For well over a decade, they have been dedicated to helping people from high-control religious groups through exit counseling, seminars, and support groups. Reverend Bob Pardon was born and raised in Detroit, Michigan. He attended the University of Michigan and graduated with a Bachelor of Arts in Religious Studies. Well, let's see, where's his psychology degree? Theological and professional training at Gordon Conwell Theological Seminary in Hamilton, Massachusetts. Graduated with a Master of Divinity degree. I love these Masters of Divinity. I'd like to see them on Judgment Day. He pastored a church for 8 years. He continued theological education at Princeton Theological Seminary, where he became a Master of Theology. What do you need theology after you're already divine? But I guess he needed it. Oh, he concentrated in ethics, and upon graduating from there, he pastored a church for 7 years. I don't see any degree in psychology. But he was a founding member of the New England Institute of Religious Research and currently serves as executive director of Meadow Haven. He speaks nationally and internationally on cults in general and many groups specifically. He works with families who have lost children to cultic groups. Yes, there you go, right there. This is where the extortion ring operates. This guy comes to town. Now you are a regular, ordinary family, and suddenly one of your loved ones is going to Bible study meetings. And you say, well, who's running the Bible study, hon? Oh, group ABC. Little whatever group, never heard of. Oh, okay. Now, a funny thing about religious interest. Somebody who's been happily doing whatever another member of the family wanted might start changing once they go to any kind of religious meeting. They're making their own decisions. The rest of the family is not controlling their mind anymore. This can upset the less religiously inclined members of the family. So, being one of those, let's say you see Bob Pardon's coming to town and he's going to offer a talk on the ABC prayer meeting group that has come to his attention because it's been achieving some success. They've been having prayer meetings in a number of places, and people start going and other people ask questions. Nothing wrong with that. That's America. That's a free society. People have the right to assemble. They have the right to follow speakers around and find out what they have to say. They have the right to read books. They have the right to think for themselves. Now, Mr. Pardon comes to town, and he's going to give a talk on the cult. It's always going to be a cult. As soon as you use the word cult, you're criminalizing the activity. And the so-called attributes of a cult are no different from any attributes of any social group anywhere. If Mr. Pardon had a degree in psychology, he would know that. No psychologist would retain their license doing what Mr. Pardon is doing, which is criminalizing other people's belief systems. And then announcing to the family that, oh, their loved one is in grave danger. For $3,000 a month, they can snatch him and put him in the clinic. And if the family can't pay the bill, well, there's other ways it can be paid. You can solicit donations. Now, in my personal opinion, this man is part of the same extortion ring that Rick Ross runs. Actually, it's not only my opinion that he's part of it. One of the reasons I'm looking it up is that one of his graduates, Brian Birmingham, is a captain of a thread devoted to chasing down individuals, criminalizing them. And apparently that young man, Brian Birmingham, owes Rob Pardon some money because he announced that he had no money when he went into their clinic. Now he calls himself a graduate. And he just recently advertised in the Rick Ross Forum that he's willing to help pay the plane fare of anyone who wants to go to the Meadowhaven Clinic. He's working his time with these guys. Well, let's go look at who directs the Meadowhaven Clinic. The New England Institute of Research might have to be a separate video because that's a piece of work in itself. But let's look at the people here. That's the staff, Bob and Judy Pardon. Who else is on the staff? Judy Pardon. Now, is she the psychologist? Let's see. Graduated from UMass Boston. BA in psychology. Okay, she's got a bachelor's in psychology, a certificate in elementary education. She earned a master's in education and counseling. Also a founding member of the New England Institute of Religious Research, which owns this little moneymaker called Meadowhaven, and a lot of other moneymakers besides. Okay, she's got at least a little bit of psychological training, but mostly it says education, and it does not say she's licensed. Maybe she is. Carson Mahar, administrative assistant, resident house parent. Her claim to fame, she's been their executive secretary for 5 years. And she's available 24 hours a day. I don't know about that. It sounds like household slavery to me, but that's just my opinion. The board of directors. Oh, this gets interesting. Reverend Eduardo Andrade, Good Shepherd Reformed Episcopal Church. Okay, he's got his religious axe to grind. Jeff and Sue Whiteacre, no credentials. Ray and Stephanie Connolly, former members of an abusive group. Now, this is part of the quackery that goes on there. You get to project your life experience onto everybody else. And if anyone doesn't agree to mold their memories to your experience, they're in denial. They need help. In my opinion, they're a bunch of quacks. They're operating an extortion ring. They're part of it. They advertise through Rick Ross. They use Rick Ross threads to find clients, to find sources of money, and they extort money from their graduates who have to go out and get the donations by extorting money from anyone they can find who has any interest in any religious group that this Reformed Episcopal pastor and these Gordon Conwell seminary graduates don't like. Oh, there's someone else on the board of directors there. He's a private contractor. That's all it says. No psychology there. I don't see one psychologist on their board of directors. Consulting psychologists. One of their consulting psychologists, a Dr. Stratton, is in Denver, Colorado. Boy, I bet he meets with these people in Lakeville, Massachusetts all the time. The other one, Dr. Burks, is in Tallahassee, Florida. Well, they're handy, aren't they? Oh, there is one who's handy. Eric Schweitzer, Ph.D. Well, I looked him up. It says here he's in Lakeville. He's with the Charis Counseling Center. He's also traveling around selling his books. This is a real moneymaker. You get your slave labor. In other parts of the website, it shows how the residents there work for upkeep. All of that sounds like what they accuse cults of doing. Cults are groups of people who come together around some religious foundation, leadership, great idea, whatever, and they put in a lot of time and effort to building themselves a little community. And it sounds like that's what these people are doing, except these people's community is based on attacking everybody else, running stalker rings, coming into town. What used to be called the Satanic Panic. There were a few charlatans who used to run around telling everyone that anyone wearing teenagers with black t-shirts and heavy metal rock were all, about to human sacrifice the whole town. I mean, they really had a show going in the 1980s. Well, this is the modern version. I promised you another video on New England Institute of Religious Research, and that's coming up next. But the Meadowhaven.org, because there are some different things going on with that word Meadowhaven that have nothing to do with these people. So if you're going to look it up, it's Meadowhaven.org, the one that's run by Rob and Judy Pardon and owned by the New England Institute of Religious Research, and it's involved with promoting a very fundamentalist, literalist view of the Bible, Calvinist completely, and mostly devoted to attacking other groups. And its graduate, Brian Birmingham, is the one of the chief criminal stalkers, because what he's doing is criminal. Posting people's names and family members. Rick Ross's whole forum, that's what it's filled with. Asking people to get together to do things. They're supposed to be doing something to me. They've been advertising in 2 websites to get people to attack me with phone calls, letters. They pretend they have lawyers writing letters. No lawyer's written me a letter. One of the ways these people make money is they grab somebody that they've pushed into a corner. They get a person into an emotional corner, and then they get conservatorship. Conservatorship means they essentially own that person. That person is their slave, and whatever money the state might owe that person in Social Security, if there is any such money coming to that individual, it goes to them. That's what conservatorship means. It means you lose your legal personhood. You are legally murdered as a human being. And that's all this is one big slavery, conservatorship, extortion ring scam. That's my opinion. And they want to send their attorney, Nicholas Barrett, out of Rhode Island. I'm in Texas. Come on down and make my day.